Yes, welcome back to the show. What's happening, people? I hope you're well. First of all, man, make sure you go check out the last video from last night. It was absolutely mad. It was a long show, but if you do not want to watch all of it, please make sure you do me a favor. Go and watch the last half hour. Oh my God, it was lit. Lawless and D, and I mean, honestly, Lawless and D could have their own show. It was unbelievable. Last 30 to 35 minutes. Just go watch it. Honestly, it's well worth it. If you do not do anything else, just go to the last video on the Race for Europe show of last night and watch the last half hour. It was hilarious, to say the least. D and Lawless just literally ripping into each other, man. It was just crazy. So make sure you go do that. Make sure you like this. Make sure you subscribe to it, please. Make sure you'll like straight away. As soon as you come on the show, all you got to do is hit the thumbs and then you can crack on and listen to the rest of the show. It helps it so much, man. It really does. And otherwise, I wouldn't say it. It doesn't actually bother me who actually presses the thumbs up, other than the fact that what it does is it supports the channel. So that's what I'd love you to do, first of all. Now, before I go any further, I wanted to pay respects to Bill Kenwright. And as you can see in the chat, that is now happening. Richo, regular listener, big Everton fan, says, evening, rest in peace to Bill Kenwright. A sad day for Everton Football Club. Chloe has said, evening, Dan. Rest in peace, Bill Kenwright. Really horrendous when stuff like this happens. You know, we've seen Bobby Charlton, now Bill Kenwright. And it's always sad when these things happen. But actually, when you think of footballing men that it happens to, where they are classed as legend, and the word's actually thrown around quite a lot now. Oh, he's a legend. He's a legend. When you look at people like Sir Bobby Charlton and you look at Bill Kenwright and Everton Football Club, they've lost two fantastic footballing men to the footballing community. So really sad news. Really sad news indeed. Big up Mustafa, who says, big up Dan. Hit the like button, guys. Yeah, make sure that you do that, please, people. We're going to talk all things football. We're going to talk all things Champions League. And tonight, obviously, Arsenal are playing Seville. I'm going to do a watch along potentially on this channel for that game. So I just wanted to have a bit of a chat about the team news, really, because this, for me, at the moment, is becoming a real debate, isn't it? Football is becoming a debate about Arsenal right now because it's who's going to play, who's going to start, who's going to be in goal, what we're going to do in midfield. It seems that every department of the Arsenal team right now is being spoken about. Now, maybe that's a good thing because it shows how far we've come. But also in the negative side of things, it shows that we still are potentially short in a couple of areas. And I think it's fair to say that other than the goalkeeper, which we'll come on to in a minute, we're kind of short in every department. And I don't mean every position. I mean just every department. So we're short in defence, short in midfield and short up top still. I think we will get that right. I think we will. Maybe we need the January window to sort that out. But for me, it seems that it's become clear that perhaps there's a couple positions that we're still a little bit unsure of. I think Jesus up top hasn't really got the quality behind him. I don't think we trust anybody at the moment to cover for Saka. We definitely don't have a box-to-box midfielder. And I think that in defence, with Timber being out and Tierney being allowed to leave, we might just be short in that area as well. So there's still work to do for sure when the window arises. But tonight, it's about squad rotation. And tonight, it's about getting the team correct. Now, I don't think we should be rotating tonight, and I'll tell you why. I think this is a ridiculously important game. We've got a double header against Sevilla at home and away, and we need 6 points just to confirm that we're going through this group. Because at the moment, we don't have the quality as far as the table is showing. It shows that we've won one game, we've lost the other, which means we really need to win our home games and pick up a point somewhere else. So for me, that point that we needed to pick up somewhere else, we lost it. Lons, we can't lose tonight. We cannot lose tonight. We have to get away from this losing or picking up points is good. We need to win. We need to win tonight. And that's why I play our strongest side. Now, at the moment, what does our strongest side look like? Well, that could have changed, to be fair, because there's a lot of people that would have said our first 11 was pretty much the team that started against Chelsea the other day, other than Partey coming in for Jorginho. And I think most people would agree with that. We've not seen our front six play together yet. Partey, Odegaard, Rice, Martinelli, Saka, Jesus. It's not played together yet, right? So will we see that tonight? What will we see at the back? Who's going to play in goal? Let's start with a debate in goal, shall we? this Raya and Ramsdale situation has become an issue. And it's not just become an issue for Arsenal fans, Arsenal managers, Arsenal players. It seems to become the biggest talking point in the media. And I do blame a few culmination of things for that, if I'm honest. But ultimately, the manager has made this decision and he's going to have to hold that. Now, I hope he gets it right. I hope that he makes it work. I don't have anything against both of the goalkeepers being at the same club. I don't have anything against the situation. Where I do have concerns and question marks is, has the manager dealt with this correctly? Let me ask you in the chat. Just say yes or no in the chat. Has Mikel Arteta dealt with this goalkeeping situation correctly? I want to see how many yeses and how many nos we get in the chat. Because for me, I think he could have dealt with it better. I really do. And I'll tell you how I think he could have dealt with it better. When Aaron Ramsdale and Matt Turner line up at the start of the season, one of them says, I want to leave. Matt Turner says, I need to go. I want to play first team football. Mikel Arteta says, that's fine. I need to replace you. The goalkeeper that he replaces Turner with could be a number 2. Let's just say, oh, you put me on the spot now, Kasper Schmeichel. He goes and gets Kasper Schmeichel, an old veteran goalkeeper. Let's have it right now at 36, I think he is. He goes and plays behind Ramsdale for the season, and we've got a Premier League winner, a Premier League proven goalkeeper there. It's quite clear that he's number 2, and Aaron Ramsdale continues as number 1. That's his first option. His other option is he can just go and get somebody like a Runnison to back him up, and everyone just says, what you're doing. So I'm glad he hasn't done that. But the third option is I go and get somebody better than Ramsdale on his same level to compete with him. He's decided to go with that option. For me, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's how you deal with it next, which is important. Now, the next thing he's done is he's gone, Ramsdale, you're staying in goal. Raya, you're number 2. Randomly, against Everton, Raya starts. Then the next Champions League game, Raya starts. Carabao Cup comes forward, Ramsdale starts. There's no transparency, but we can just be left guessing that Ramsdale's now going to play both the domestic cup games, and David Raya is the Champions League goalkeeper and the Premier League goalkeeper. Now, I don't know what Mikel Arteta has said, but from Ramsdale's unhappiness, apparently, in the media, it would suggest to me that he didn't see this coming. I don't think Ramsdale sat there going, I'm cool with it. I'm fine. I'm happy to be a cup goalkeeper. Now, what we don't do is we guess stuff. We can't really do that. But what we can is have opinions of it. Now, we don't know for a fact that Ramsdale's unhappy. We don't know for a fact that he's happy. For me, it's a little bit strange that Arteta hasn't made it clear to the players, the fan base, everybody involved in the club by saying, right, David Raya, you are now my number 1 goalkeeper. And Aaron Ramsdale, if you're not happy, you can go in January, but you're not going to be playing unless it's a cup game. And the way to do that is to actually show that as well as talk about it by playing him from the start. The minute Raya walks in the door, he's the number 1 goalkeeper, not randomly throwing him in against Everton. Then we're all guessing to see, well, Ramsdale's got us in the Champions League. He deserves to be playing. No, he's not playing there either. And then what's happened to make it even worse is Raya's not had an amazing start. Raya's not proven to be an upgrade on Aaron Ramsdale. Whether you think he is or not, he might be in the long run. But right now, he isn't. So for me, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens in the coming weeks. What does Mikel Arteta do? I tell you what I think he'll do, and then I tell you what I think he should do. I think David Raya will start in goal. I think he'll continue as our number 1 in both the Premier League games and the Champions League games. What I think should happen now is I think Aaron Ramsdale should come in tonight, because tonight isn't the Premier League. Tonight is the Champions League. Now, it might suggest that then, is he rotating? Is he just going with any goalkeeper in any old game? But if you can be ruthless in a position to say, you're no longer my number 1, and then you can be ruthless in a position to say, you're definitely not my number 1, surely you can then flip that and be ruthless with each other. So you can say, Raya, I thought you were not brilliant in these games, but for me of late, you've looked nervy, man. I need you to fight back for your position, because at the moment, I've got a really good goalkeeper here that showed me consistent performances in 2 years, and Raya hasn't performed consistent performances in 2 games yet. So for me, it outbalances it, and Ramsdale just has to come back in now. There was a time where Raya come into the side. I think it was against Everton and then potentially against another team, but I can't remember off the top of my head, where actually I looked fairly confident with him. He was commanding in his area. His kicking looked pretty good. He was quite comfortable on the ball. And every time the ball went back to him, I had the confidence and belief that actually we were going to do some good things with it. But I started to look at it against Lens, Manchester City, Spurs, and now against Chelsea, where he hasn't had good games. And it's been really poor with his distribution. He's not made any world-class saves. He's been lobbed now. He's passed the ball out to their striker. He's just looked nervy. And I do put some of that blame on Mikel Arteta as well, because you can blame the player for actually doing it. But actually, he's got a lot of pressure on his shoulders, which he shouldn't have. But because he's got Ramsdale on his back, and also he's got all the media shouting at him going, he needs to be dropped. He needs to be dropped. He's got all the fans arguing, he needs to be dropped. This is really tough for David Raya now as well as Aaron Ramsdale. So it's harsh on Ramsdale and it's stressful for Raya. It's not a good situation. And Arteta has caused this. He's put this situation on himself. He did not have to prioritize a goalkeeper. He could have gone and got a number two. He's decided to go with this. He's got to deal with it. He's got to make it happen. And for me at the moment, it's not looking good, man. It's really, really not looking good. Tonight, I expect to see David Raya in goal. I would like to see Aaron Ramsdale start, but I think it will be David Raya. That moves us on to the back line. The back line tonight, I don't think there's going to be much change. I don't expect to see a complete upper change of personnel. I don't think we can change everybody. We haven't got enough backup players to change everybody. But one player that has to play for me is Tomiyasu. I think Tomiyasu has been fantastic every time I've seen him play for Arsenal this season. He's come on at right back, centre back, and left back, and he's played very, very well. And I think he showed a level of consistency now. Tomiyasu was actually playing the inverted role against Chelsea, and he did it all right. Tomiyasu was better defensively, and when he has got forward, he actually provides more of an aerial threat than I ever thought that I imagined that he would. I never imagined him up there. I never thought that he would be playing more of a forward advanced role, because he never really has as a right back. On the left side, we've seen it a little bit more. He's come into the middle and done well. At centre back against Brentford, I thought he was probably man of the match. I do think personally, Tomiyasu is a starter right now. For me, he is. And the way that I would see him start is going at left back instead of Zinchenko, who for me has been poor. Giving the ball away, being caught out of position, sloppy passes that have led to goals against Fulham. He got booked the other night for Chelsea on the right-hand side of our midfield. What was he doing over there? There's real kind of frustration for me. I just don't really get it. So for me, at the moment, like Zinchenko, love him on the ball, but Tomiyasu gets the nod for me at left back. And we keep the same. Gabriel and Saliba have formed a partnership. I don't want Kivior coming in to mess that up against Sevilla. And then right back, Ben White. So that would be my back five. Ramsdale, Ben White, and then Gabriel Saliba, and then Tomiyasu. I don't think it will be. I think it will be the same back five that started against Chelsea. I do. In midfield, I would play Thomas Partey. Thomas Partey has to play. I honestly believe with Thomas Partey in midfield against Chelsea, it would have nullified everything that worked well for them with Jorginho in there. Jorginho played really well against City, but it was a completely different game to Manchester City. Chelsea had unbelievable athleticism and press in their midfield. And big up to Cole Palmer, Conor Gallagher, Caicedo, Enzo, because they all played well in the first half. And it just completely nullified what we were supposed to be doing. And Jorginho got bossed, if I'm honest, and so did Erdegaard. So in my midfield tonight, what do I want to see? I'd love to see Thomas Partey start. But Jorginho has been in all of the press conferences. So you can bet your life that he's going to continue to play. I think Declan Rice will continue to play in that 8 tonight, because what I feel will happen is he'll be a little bit like Granit Xhaka, where he'll play most of the games. Granit Xhaka last season played pretty much every game that he was fit, and he played from 90 minutes in the majority of them. And I think Rice has proven that he's going to be that kind of guy, because he's the only box-to-box midfielder that we've got, man. The only one. So I expect to see Jorginho and Rice playing tonight. And then I don't think Erdegaard's going to start. Now, for me, I don't think that's a bad thing, because he's been poor. And I think it might just be time for him to just have a bit of a rest and try and clear his head and look at the performances, because they have been poor. Yeah, he keeps the ball and he passes it well, but he's been invisible. And when the going gets tough, he gets going. He doesn't stay around. He gets subbed so much. I think for me, the midfield will be Jorginho, Rice, and probably probably Havertz. But I would play Partey, Rice, and probably Smith Rowe. Because Smith Rowe come on, and I didn't think he was amazing, but he tried to at least make something happen. He understood the play. He actually got what we were trying to do in that last 20 minutes. And I just want to see him more in the tight side. I just think he's a better number 10. Maybe Vieira might get a nod, but he hasn't played for God knows how long. He wasn't even on the bench against Chelsea, which is mad for me. He's not injured, by the way. He just wasn't selected. Bizarre. And then it's the front three, which I think will be Martinelli, Saka, and Jesus. But I would actually play Trossard in this game. I'd actually play Trossard in the false nine. And the reason I would is because I actually feel like Trossard is so underrated across the whole of the front three. And I think he's good in any of those positions. Centrally, look at some of the goals and assists he's got centrally for Brighton and Arsenal. He's been phenomenal. And he's just not playing. Comes on again against Chelsea, scores. I think they need more games time. What do I think the team will be? I think it will be in the midfield, Jorginho, Rice, and Havertz. And then I think up top, it will probably be Eddie and maybe Jesus and Saka, or maybe Martinelli and Jesus. He might do something like that. I think he'll change a few tonight. I don't think it'll be many, but I think he'll change a few. So that's what I think. Put your team news in the chat. Put your predicted 11 in the chat. Let me know what you think it will be. I think it's going to be interesting tonight. I really don't know what he's going to do here, Mikel Arteta. And do you know what? I've been left guessing for most games, and I've never got an 11 right, other than Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace was the only game that I expect to see Tomiyasu in it, and he brought him in. And for me, it's the only time I've got a predicted 11 under Mikel Arteta for a good 18 months, because it's been really, really hard to predict that. Who do you think plays in goal? Who's your back four? Who's your midfield three? And who's your front three? Because there's so many options. Now, some of those options are not good options. Some of them are good. Trossard would be fine to start. Some people might want Fabio Vieira or Smith Rowe in this side. Some people might want to start Tomiyasu or Zinchenko. There might be a debate there, as well as the Raya Ramsdale one. Some people might fancy Kivior tonight and give him a go at left centre-back. Maybe give Gabriel a rest, or maybe he'll come in at left-back. There's a lot of options. Whether they're the options you want to see, let me know in the chat. Reece Nelson, another man that hasn't played for a while, to be fair. Are we going to see much of him? Does Saka need to play tonight? Does he need a rest? He played, most of the game against Chelsea and created the goal. So lots and lots tonight to divulge. And we're going to find out soon. C-Law AFC, big up, man. Member of the channel. Love for having you again, man. This is his team. He says David Raya would be in goal for him. It would be White, Saliba, Gabriel, and Tomiyasu. Rice, Partey, and Erdegaard. Trossard, Jesus, and Saka. Not far from my first 11. Really isn't. That is a really good 11, and one that I think would be able to beat Sevilla tonight. Now, let me ask you this in the chat. What's more important, winning tonight or beating Sheffield United at the weekend? That's a really tough one. You can only win one. What are you doing? Are you beating Sevilla and pretty much guaranteeing at least coming second through the Champions League group? Or are you taking an L tonight and making sure that you beat Sheffield United? Because I would argue winning tonight is more important. Because if you lose against Sheffield United, yeah, of course, it's going to be horrendous and really embarrassing, in fact, right? But there's more time for you to actually get yourself back into a winning situation in the league. So if you can only have one, I'm going to go with tonight. Now, I actually think we'll both win. We'll win both. I've said it right. And Chaitanya, big up Chaitanya in the chat, says, what the F? We got to beat both. Come on. Listen, of course we have, man. Absolutely. What I'm trying to get at is, what competition is more important right now? Is it a Champions League Cup competition, or is it the league? And I said this with Robbie on AFTV. We were talking about the Carabao Cup. And I said, you've always got to stay in the trophies. It's always got to be about trophies. Because if we beat Sheffield United and come second, and we lose to Sevilla and go out, there's a problem, because we're potentially out of a Champions League, or we're dropping down potentially to Europa League. Now, you can argue to both and say, if we lost to Sheffield United, we've still got time to make up to it. But also, if we lost to Sevilla tonight, we've got time to make up to it. So perhaps it's a not as important scenario, so to speak. But I think it's really interesting. I think we've got to win both, and I think we will win both. But I've got to be honest, tonight's not going to be easy. Sevilla have sacked their manager. They've had a terrible start. They've just drew at home to Real Madrid. They've got a really good result there, to be fair, because everyone had them losing that. So they're going to have a little bit of confidence. Got a couple of players that we all know about. Hopefully, Lamela isn't one of them. Um, and we're going to have a tricky game tonight. We know that, but I think we can win, and I think we can win both. Sheffield United, I mean, that's just a must, isn't it? Everybody's beating them at the moment, particularly at home. Newcastle put 8 past them, right? So we've got to be realistic about our chances there. Tonight, I see a win. And the reason I see a win is because I know for a fact that people are disappointed after the weekend. Not all Arsenal fans are. Some are actually quite happy. They're saying, oh, wow, we got a point. Let's just move on. I kind of get that, but I'm not going to have that mentality and that attitude because for me, the performance was what let us down. I wasn't frustrated at the VAR. I wasn't frustrated at the referee. I wasn't frustrated at the fact that Chelsea had got a lucky goal from Mudryk. I was frustrated at our performance because that really let us down. That was a performance that I expected to see under Wenger's last year's, Emery's start, and Arteta's start. And unfortunately, we're 4 years into a project and we got another performance like that. And that was worrying. And I can't see too many of them, I'm afraid. Let's go into this game forgetting about Saturday and moving forwards because we have an unbelievable opportunity to go through this group. This is a group that we could not have been gifted any better. These are 3 teams that would struggle to get through a Europa League stage. Sevilla, PSV and Lens. They've never won Champions Leagues like we expect them to. Sevilla have done well in the Europa League, not the Champions League. Lens have only just got back into the Champions League after 20 years. And PSV are in our Europa League group last year. So we're very lucky to get this. Come on. Listen, I want to leave it there, people. Make sure you do me a favor, though. Smash the like, man. Smash the like, please. Hit the like button. What are we up to at the moment? Come on, yeah, we're 46 likes, people. What's going on? Make sure you hit the like button, man. There's nearly 200 people in here. Let's make sure we can get that to 100 likes. Come on. All you got to do is caress the like button, and then make me a happy boy, man. Come on. Subscribe to the channel. Our next one is 13K. And as I said at the start of the show, make sure you go and watch last night's last half hour of the show, D versus Lawless. Wow. I'm going to clip that up and put that into a video because it is a must watch. Listening to both of them is just mad. They should have their own channel and their own show by far. So make sure you hit the like for this free content, people. If you do want to join as a member, you can do. All you got to do is like, subscribe, and then you'll see the join button. If you do fancy joining the channel and supporting it for this content, then please make sure that you do. I will be back later on. We will see you later. My prediction for tonight's game is 2-1 Arsenal. I fancy us to nick it. I don't think it's going to be pretty in parts, but I do fancy us to take the 3 points. And I personally feel like that will be enough to give us the confidence to win this group. And that's what I'm looking at. Take it easy, people. Up the Arsenal. We'll be back later. And come on, you Gunners.